It's different.
Thank you, Carla. Yeah, all right. Calling this meeting to order, please stand available for the flag. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of January 8, 2024 was included in the list of meetings notice sent to the Huntington County Democrat and Courier News on January 3, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. May I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Mueller.
Here.
Councilwoman Fasara.
Here.
Councilman Levitt.
Here.
Council President Long.
Here.
Councilman Parker.
Here.
Council Vice President Rossetti.
Here.
And Mayor Carroll.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. Right, we have a situation. We had a. Sorry. You're right. We have a hopefully relatively brief, but insightful and informative presentation on the budget for the Flemington Community Partnership. Our Executive Director, Robin Martinez. So it's, let's see what you can do in another 15 minutes. You can't, but we invited you in to go through it, so I don't want to, hope you like too fast.
Okay. So do you want a microphone in my screen?
Do you have,
Sure.
did you hit share screen?
Nope. That would help. Ready? Sorry, Brian.
Probably while you're doing that, let me just look into the console.
Sure.
Like, Robin and I talked about, so Robin's presenting the budget. And what she'll do is she'll come back and give us the year-end roundup of what's happened over 2023, because I wanted us just to focus on the budget and not mix two different things. So, that was what we kind of been advised to do.
Literally on my desktop.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Do you want to hold it? Oh, do I? Sure. Sorry. Okay. Is it ready? Okay. It should be. All right. Okay. Sounds good. So, this is our budget. We get the same amount every year from the assessment to the commercial property owner. So that is who pays our bill. The commercial property owner. Is this, I don't know if it's on, is it? Can you hear me?
No.
No.
Liz says yes.
Okay, very good. On now?
Oh.
Okay. All right,
You're good, it's picking you.
okay. You sure?
Liz, give me a thumbs up if you hear her.
Yeah, I can hear her.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the commercial property owner gets the bill for the assessment. It totals $362,000 every year. However, we also carry money over every year to year. And we also have other revenue sources. So what you see here between the 24 budget and the 23 budget is that an expectation that will carry over like $120,000. So if our 362 is divided in 4 equal payments and we get a check in December, we carry that over the following year. And a lot of our bills for the holidays, and we spend a lot of money in the fourth quarter in the last month, come at the very end of the month. Like the snowflake bill won't get paid until the end of the season, which is sometime in January. Okay, so the revenue, as you see it, is 362. Hold on a second, I'm just gonna freeze that from top row. So, okay. So in addition, we anticipate that additional sponsorships and grants will total somewhere, could total, if we work hard and have more help than we've had in the past. And we really focus on sponsorships, which is an area where post-COVID, where we're at about now, people are sponsoring events again. We should be able to get about $55,000 in sponsorship. It's aggressive, but it's possible. And more people have said, why didn't you ask me for sponsorship? And I said, because we were a little short-staffed last year and a little overwhelmed, but we are happy to ask you for a sponsorship this year.
Can I just ask you a short question? So you have 23 budget, the sponsorships, in the budget was 45,000. Is that an actual?
That is no.
So we don't have the actuals.
We worked on actuals, but our year ended like 8 days ago. So we want to come back with the actual
Okay.
so that you have a better.
What did you
idea.
actually get as sponsorships?
We got about 25,000.
So 55 is very low.
It's aggressive.
Okay.
It's aggressive, but as some of my board can attest, we've had board members who said, why didn't you ask me for a sponsorship? I would have given it to you. And our answer was, I'm one person. And, we recently hired an assistant director who should be very good at collecting sponsorships. And, the world is more open to sponsorships. So the next number is earned revenue, which could be everything from a vendor fee. We sold beer and wine, we sold tickets, we sold refreshments. We really don't make a lot of money selling t-shirts ever. But that number did come in over 55,000 this year. So we do make revenue on our events. So that total number for this year is a ambitious $592,000, which is up from last year by 20,000, but we feel confident that we can achieve that. Okay, so, and as we do, I'm here, this is my 4th year. This will be the 5th year of the Corn and Tomato and Beer Festival. We've made very good changes that have put us in a position. When I got here, we didn't charge anybody practically to come to the Corn, Tomato and Beer Festival, which was just silly.
You mean the vendors?
The vendors, yeah. So now we have we have demand and a good rate structure that allows us to at least get to almost net zero for the event, which is what it should be. Okay, so in terms of economic development, we include event grants to businesses, temporary performance areas like the tent that we put up on Stangl Road, which could be moved to cut glass if there were ever an opportunity to move it someplace else. It's not fixed in any location, but just like we used to do the filling station, we look to do some performance area, to create activity by moving our tent to a different location. Business-focused annual seasonal events, promotions, that's all of our events. And that's everything. That's Valentine's Day, that's Easter, that's Halloween, that's Christmas and Santa, a trolley, and corn, tomato, and beer. Stakeholder relations is, meetings and board activities. economic development, planning and events was more like the economic development summit that we had. And, you know, in initiatives to foster economic growth, which are really different from marketing events. So again, we didn't go up that much in that category, but, you know, every year we should try to, earn more, spend more. So streetscape improvements is a big category. I know Tony's really curious about what's going on in this bucket, but visual arts is, it could be that we do a chalk event and, you know, kids make chalk. It could be art. It could be something very temporary. It could be something more permanent, like a mural, or sometimes Christmas lights and things fall into that category. The sign grant reimbursement is where we pay up to 50% of a commercial sign for any business. And it's up to 50% up to $3,000. So Saunders Jewelry has a fabulous sign. It cost them almost $12,000 and we gave them $1,500. Aunt Mary's the same thing. Highway signs are really much more expensive than Main Street signs because of the conditions. But, you know, for a new business, particularly one that has a lot of expenses opening, being able to offer something like that, it also ensures that they're following the rules and that they're not going rogue and just putting up a sign or replacing a sign that maybe wasn't previously permitted. So the sign program is good. Last year, we did not grant as many signs because there were so many personnel changes that got a little slowed down. But, you know, the new signs are very positive for everything.
Before you get up that category,
Sure.
what is going on with the wayfinding signs? All the old signs that are still up saying Flemington Fur Company and et cetera.
Exactly. They are in this banner and signs column called, which is $17,000. So we got very ready to, we thought that we would print. So we have a technique for covering those signs. And it's covering them in vinyl. We tested the vinyl because we have a couple out there that are doing great. They're not fading, they're not peeling. This is a good solution. The real issue is what are we calling things and have we found a suitable color palette and art that everybody agrees on? And so far we haven't gotten to that.
And I really think that we need to take what's up there down. At this
Oh,
point,
yeah.
they're so out of date.
I think we can move this forward very quickly with this council and with my current board and with the HPC and just get a few people to give us some input. We also have met with the county with Brad Meyer, who the county would be very interested in helping us even add new signs or replace them because but everything is, you know, the what the sign says it will be something completely different than what it currently says. It's a complete redo.
Well, I really think that if you can't do it within the next 60 days,
Yeah,
they need to either be covered or come down because they're
I
just
appreciate
so
that.
out of date.
I think if everybody's willing to look at the artwork that we have, make suggestions, agree that this is, you know, that we're going to call the historic courthouse complex, the complex, then we can move forward quickly.
But I think there's, here's, let me just clarify something.
Sure.
Because Robin has been working on this. I do know that as a fact, because she's brought some things forward. I think there's two things. I do agree with you that it needs to come down. If we can't get it done in 60 days, let's just cover it and then let's just work through the rest of whatever has to happen. I do agree with that. However, I do agree with you. I do think we can come to some type of resolution within a 60-day point to get something in front of council and in front of HPC and get it done and the board and get all of that done. So maybe my suggestion is put that at the top of the list after the reorg of FPC and let's get it done.
Councilwoman.
I was wondering who the stakeholders were and what their timeline is. So now I know
Yeah.
what they told us.
Yeah.
Something that. Or has been in front of the HPC and has it been the design or?
Actually, it's, we've had a few people put eyes on it, but the past sign had a courthouse, cupola and seal. And we've tried to do something with the new, with the building being in the condition that it's in. But we just haven't gotten the right angle and the right image. And what we use for the sign can only be for the sign. It doesn't have to be the new Borough Hall seal or anything. I think we were kind of overcomplicating it.
I think it's overthinking it, right?
We
Going
were.
back to what you're saying, but I think at the end of the day, to answer your question, and I think without she answering it, I don't think she's giving it directly to you. But I think the bottom line is, yes, I think the thing to do is to go back to the board and go back to HPC and get a timeline, and then maybe at the next session, just to let everybody know what the timeline is, that she's working towards something. I think that's what Adrian's question is, which is a very valid question. I know that you've been working on it. But yeah, let's just put that as an action item that you get a schedule together and then bring it in and then let's.
I commit.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone else here would like to commit to that too.
I'm sorry, so keep going, that was.
Okay. So that
You're up to Mark.
So that is in the $17,000. We also really need to replace the gateway signs over on Walter Ferran, because it's really not in great shape. So there's a lot of sign changes coming. Beautification projects and seasonal decor. We pay $9,000 to DPW for water and plants. And then each season is $3,000 to $4,000 because they're not your average house plant. You cannot buy these things at Home Depot. And you can't really keep them alive if you don't have a massive, bladder with water on a truck and a bunch of guys. We can't even lift these plants. They're so heavy. So, every time we install them, every time we move them, there's an expense. But I will say, and I hope that my board would agree, we were very successful in doing 4 seasonal plantings this year. This is the first time since I've been the director that we actually were able to do that. And I don't believe there were any complaints. Jeremy would know. But I don't think anyone complained on Facebook about the plants or when are they coming or going. And, keeping those pots full of something is really integral to them not becoming garbage cans and something really gross. So I think we did a good job, but it is really expensive. Okay, marketing. $43,000 is what we spend in marketing, and that is a whole lot of advertising. It's Facebook and online ads. It's all of the printed materials, the holiday passport, any brochures, all posters, all flyers. We spend a lot of money on film because it lasts and it has a much broader impact than most print ads. And brochures, there was, recently people were less interested in brochures, but now they seem to be more interested in getting a brochure. So we will go back to printing brochures and rack cards more regularly. We break that out from advertising, which is graphic design. We spend a lot of money on graphic design and our designs are good. Market research, web hosting is expensive. Marketing and PR is a much higher expense. And that's not really shocking for the kind of marketing and PR we're doing. Right now, we're doing every Tuesday and every Thursday a focus on one of our businesses that are getting, the Italian Bakery 500 likes. And then Cilantro Garden got almost 500 likes. So for, one of our more beloved family businesses that everybody who lives around here knows, to be followed by a tiny little business that we thought very few people knew, but we're doing what is most difficult in Flemington, which is sharing customers. We have something for everyone in 3 business areas. And if everyone who shopped at Home Goods, bought something in the retail store on Main Street, it would be fabulous. But it doesn't necessarily happen that, people go all over the place. So this marketing and PR is actually helping to make that happen, to find, to allow audiences to see all of the things that are available for them to enjoy. That's pretty much it, but $65,000 for 450 businesses is really not as much money as it sounds like for marketing and PR. Administration and operation, this is, I'm sorry, I spelled assistant director wrong, so it's very timely that you're here to fix that. But payroll, taxes, operations is all of our rent and all of our storage. Everything that we own, we have to store. And if you come to my office, how much stuff we have. We have a lot. Professional services are of the ever increasing bookkeeping, audit, legal fees, anything that is a professional service. And that gives us our total for admin and operating expenses, which is higher than all of our other expenses. And our total expense is 586. So the reason why it's not 362 when you look at the revenue is, again, we're carrying over money, we're adding sponsorships, and we have other additional ticket revenue. But we only spend what we have. So, this is an aspirational budget, it's also pretty conservative. It gives us a smaller cushion of $6,000 to carry over into the next year. And hopefully, if we're doing our jobs right, we're getting grants, and we're not asking the borough for a higher tax assessment at this moment in time. We're just asking for that amount so that we can do all the things we do and hopefully raise more money.
Let me just give you something. I think that this is there's 2 things. One is for New Year's Eve, I went to Hackettstown for the lentil drop. And it was absolutely amazing, right? It's a very small town. I don't know if you've ever been to Hackettstown. I had never been. But it's a very small town. They had thousands of people, right? People were coming from all over for this lentil drop, which was not even advertised. Scott said they put out the advertisement on December 19th or something like that, right? But all the stores were open, and I forget about the lentil drop itself. It was about people coming into that downtown area. The stores were open, and there was a celebration going on from like 9 o'clock in the evening to like 12:30 at night. And they had like music and whatever the case may be. I do see that potential here for a New Year's Eve type thing. I think it would be phenomenal, and I do think because a lot of people don't leave their towns or whatever to go, unless you're like 20, right? To go out for New Year's Eve. It is something that there were families, there were teenagers, there were families, there were couples, there were whatever the case may be. It was absolutely one of the best New Year's I've ever had. Right? And I've done a lot of New Year's. So I think that that's a potential, and that's also another way to raise revenue and another way to put focus on Flemington, because people were coming from all over just because some people just want to go someplace with their families and feel safe, right? New York City is not, and I've been to the New York City drive, one and done, right? You don't need to do that one time in your life, and you don't ever have to do that. Yeah, that was like, never, yeah, exactly. So, but this gives an alternative, so I would say that for that. I also think that there's an opportunity when we talk about the grants in a little bit, for, I think we need to look beyond what's here in town and go to corporations, because corporations do give money. I will tell you is we just need to make sure that it's buttoned up and we have a good story, which we do have a good story, right? I think we just need to be able to tell the story, but I do know for a fact, and I'm not going to volunteer Scott at all. I'm not going there because I don't want to go home and have an argument, but
We know where you live.
exactly. But I do know that corporations that I've been with always give something to communities. You just have to tell the story. So I would encourage you to look into that as well. Because now that you have some more help, you have a little bit more bandwidth to do something like that. And it's just a simple letter, by the way, with a follow-up.
Anybody else on the council, Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Tony actually answered my question. I was just gonna ask Tony if he had any goals or visions for 2024 for the FCP, but he answered that. So thank you for that summary.
Councilwoman Sorrow? Any additional questions? Councilwoman Rossetti, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Mayor. No.
Council President?
Just curious, when did you get an assistant director?
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Let me introduce you to Janet Demlinger, who was recently at the Wolverton Inn and has had a fabulous career working for health insurance with doctors and Blue Cross Blue Shield and in hospitality and tourism. Locally, she lives she lives outside of the borough, but in a place called Flemington. And she
Most of our residents apparently.
we all live downtown and we were her hometown for the holidays. So but we're I couldn't be more excited to welcome Janet to our office and to helping me, put things together and really have the capacity that we need to do all the things that
We're gonna have more open hours for.
we actually have open hours that will be posted on the door.
That are consistent.
We
That's a good point.
I think we will be open on all day Tuesday. We have hours on Wednesday, Thursday, and that is, and otherwise by appointment, just so we can run around like.
So none on Saturdays or Sundays when there's so many people on Stangle Road.
It's tough. I haven't talked to Janet about whether she wants to work Saturday and Sunday, but what we really
Well,
need
I could get, put on my former borough administrator hat and say perhaps that should have been a condition of employment for an assistant director.
Well,
Sorry, but
no, I think that we will find some help for the
You
weekend.
know what I think the answer to that is?
Yeah.
Response,
Yes,
is that we'll check into it. I think that's the best response, but I also think that there might be some flexibility. And it may depend on the time of year that it's needed, right?
Yeah.
So is it in the winter where there's not gonna be a lot of people, or is it more in the summer when there are a lot of people? So it may be something like that, right? So I would say check into it, let's look at the seasonal flow, and then come back and we can talk about that when you give your next presentation.
this is not, this is tourism. This isn't government, what you do. And tourism is a weekend thing in this town, in any town. So I think it's important to have open hours, spring, summer, fall, have somebody available with consistent hours. So, because people want to buy T-shirts and buttons that say Love Flemington, and we want to come back. We want to buy that. So, okay, I'm sorry. Council President, anything else?
No, that was it. Thanks.
Okay.
Welcome, Janet.
Councilman, Love it.
No.
I don't think you have.
No, I'm good. I think we answered and we've done a good job. I think you've done a good job. I think you explained it really well. Even just your questions on what are those. You know, I think it's not just necessarily my goal, because we are a team and we are a group. So I'm certainly not going to say this is my goal for it. I think that one of the things that happens is during the reorg, there's goals and objectives that's put out for the reorg. And then it's a flush from that, right? So it's not necessarily my vision, it's the vision of FCP and the business owners and with input from myself. I think that's how I see it.
And I will just add to that, that our goal is really to be fully ready to welcome hundreds of thousands of tourists in 2026, when more things will be developed and open and more businesses will be ready for the masses, and we have heritage tourism.
Yeah, Flemington Revolution.
We have heritage tourism, which we certainly know that plans are in the making for us to be an important part of that. And it's also World Cup soccer. So if you're going between the Meadowlands, I'm sorry. Can you believe that? That's not good. The Meadowlands and
Philadelphia.
thank you. Lincoln Financial Field. You're coming here for lunch. And a hotel.
And the last thing I will say is that I do want to see FCP reach out to the minority, the Latino community. I think it's really important to get them involved in what we're doing, particularly since they're paying taxes on it as well. And I just think it's really important that we just do a little bit more extra effort to get them involved, whether they're come to meetings, going forward, or whatever the case may be. I think we need to do that. Thanks,
I
Robin.
think I'm done.
Thanks, Robin.
Really, I think the temporary budget's in it. Right. But that's all we're doing for ourselves. Temporary. So that's.
And then we're back in 30 days. in
Yeah,
February.
yeah.
Probably the first
Okay.
day.
So can I have a motion to approve, resolution 2024-5, 2024 temporary budget for FCP?
Parker.
Is there a second?
On second.
Yeah, can we take that motion if he's a trustee of the FCP? Yes, okay,
I don't know.
okay, thank you. All right, and, Councilwoman Starr seconded, roll call.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Used to.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Fasar,
Okay, roll call please.
and then Councilwoman Fasar,
Yes.
Councilman Lovett,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker.
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rosati. Yes.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you both for coming out. Congratulations.
Good job, Robin.
Thank you. Good to see you, Dave. All right.
Carla, do you need me to get out of,
To get out, yes.
as a presenter?
No, you're good.
You're good.
I'm done.
Mayor's report, I have a couple of things. To our attorney, we missed appointing Dave Giuliani, who is, our property maintenance officer, on the consent agenda and on January, 3rd, our reorg. It is a mayoral appointment with council concurrence. Can I amend the agenda to do that?
You absolutely may, Mayor.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna, ask for a motion to amend the agenda to put that under consent, like, number 6. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Long move.
For a second,
Single marital section.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so,
Oh, wait, that was just to put him on there?
yeah, it'll be on the
Okay.
consent agenda, so you have Dave Giuliani.
Yep.
It's a one-year appointment.
Yep.
So I also missed, he was on my master list, but because he was appointed to the planning board, I missed appointing Dennis Show back onto the HPC with his term expiring in 2025. So I am putting him back on there, and that was my total mess up. I also want to offer Jean Hunt, who lives on Spring Street, a happy birthday. She's celebrating her 102nd birthday today. I stopped by to bring her her favorite food, which is chocolate, and found she wasn't home. So it's nice that somebody must have taken her out for lunch. So she has a little difficulty walking, but she's sharp as a tack, and she is a huge Phillies baseball fan. And she lives and dies for them. So congratulations to Jean Hunt. Our oldest resident, and one of the oldest in Hunter County. And then finally, to the council members that were here last year, and also in 2022, as I don't think it's a secret to the public, but we are being sued.
Marcia,
I just want to ask about availability.
let's discuss that after, because Matt Flynn and I had a discussion very late in the day, and what was mostly the same thing. The street.
Okay.
I'll talk to you, Susan, what do you want to maybe?
Tony,
Tony was
yeah,
too.
Yeah,
We three should have a lot.
okay,
I wouldn't say anything more.
all right.
It's very late in the day, that's why I didn't call you. It's like, this is
All right.
leaving.
Yeah, I just saw all the email asking for availability.
Adrian's her office. So,
All right,
yeah.
never mind.
So when we're over, we'll huddle and
That's fine.
go over a couple quick things that
Okay.
asked me to go over. So
That's fine. And that's it then. I have nothing else. Council member reports. Council President Long.
Tonight, I do not have much to share, other than, I do have a conversation lined up with the, fire department chief tomorrow. As I'm the liaison to them now, and I'm gonna let Mr. Corporal McNally here kind of do his, work of informing us how we're gonna batten down the hatches, so I'm not gonna talk to him much until this is all over with this potential storm for the OEM section of my, duties. And that's pretty much it. Thanks.
So I did also want to remind the council and staff about the January 20th council retreat. To get it on your calendar, I'm starting to work on an agenda and schedule staff to come in and talk. Snow date will be the 27th, and it would be a snow date because I can't be has to be out plowing. So so that would be like 9 a.m. till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Just as a reminder. Council Vice President Rossetti.
Thank you, Mayor. All I have for tonight is there is a Shade Tree Commission meeting this Wednesday, the 10th, 7 p.m. And just a reminder to everyone to please make sure, I know it's all going to be washed away with the rain tomorrow, but in future storms, please remember to clear sidewalks. I've seen a lot of people struggling around town through the snow. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Thank you. I wanted to remind everybody that there is a champagne taste tour at the Fleming House this Saturday, 13th, from 1 to 3 p.m. 5 Bunnell Street. You can find information at samuelfleminghouse.org. So we wanted to, every year the Fleming House invites all of the council members, employees, DPW, police, as well as anyone who had who wants to come and had a good experience with the Fleming House last year. So we do ask that you hop on and RSVP only, just because we want to get an idea how much bubbly we should purchase. There is sparkling cider and champagne available, and I know that Marcia and Tony and I attended last year, and I was so impressed with the spread. I think they really went all out. So I hope that anybody and everybody may check that out this Saturday. Board of Ed meetings. There's two things that are applicable to, so one thing that's very important that's applicable to borough residents. January 18th, which is a Thursday, 7 p.m. Fleming Raritan School District is interviewing 4 potential new candidates for our borough school district representative. And the reason why it's, I just wanted to point it out as Thursday, is that their last reorg meeting, they did, change their calendar up a little bit. So their Board of Ed meetings will be on Thursdays for the most part, unless there's some exception, throughout this year. So that's new and different and won't conflict with ours anymore. So that's good. You can come to meetings multiple days of the week now. The high school Board of Ed meeting, next meeting is January 22nd, Monday, on Monday, the 22nd at 7 p.m. And finally, this weekend, the high school, and I did put this in the newsletter, so I don't know what, if anybody got to see it yet, but it's right at the beginning of the year, is the Midsummer Night's Dream they're putting out this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Tickets are available on the high school website. This is an 80s inspired Midsummer Night's Dream interpretation. So for all of my fellow 70s kids, I think it might be fun to go check it out. Who was born in the 1970s, if you lived through the 80s decor and fashion. So that might be fun. Let's see, there's the non-for-profit Art Venture has an artist choice show at Stengel, also on Saturday the 13th. So go right through the Champaign over to Stengel for the artist choice show from 3:30 to 5:30 at Stengel. On Saturday, I think maybe the mayor may want to expand upon this a bit. On Saturday, I attended, along with the mayor, the 250th meeting, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And Robin also insinuated that there'll be a lot of events that will be coordinated with Leamington in the next 2 years to celebrate that. And I wanted to thank the mayor for inviting us. I got a lot of great ideas that I want to bring to the Museum House attention. They're having their reorg meeting on this Wednesday. So hopefully we won't get washed away, and we'll have that meeting on Wednesday. So I thank you for that, Mayor. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to mention about that.
Just so everybody knows, the 100 and 300, which is a not-for-profit, it was 100 Centennial Committee, has been hosting 55 historical and art partners to create a spectacular series for the American Revolution and Declaration of Independence in 2025, 2026, and possibly 2027. We've been meeting for a year and a half. We just started monthly meetings this month. And so Robin has been attending. Revolutionary New Jersey comes. Preservation New Jersey has been there. Plus all of our museums, our municipalities, a lot of our arts groups, including the Hunter Symphony, which is generously offered for up to 12 different live music events as background to historical events. So it's going to be a great year. There's a parade scheduled for Flag Day in 2026. Hopefully the 250th anniversary of the first reading of the Declaration of Independence that happened in Hunterdon County. The first reading live went from Philadelphia to Hunterdon County's is no longer historic courthouse in Trenton because it's gone. And we are hoping to reenact having a colonialist patriot ride down Main Street on a horse and come to the historic courthouse in this Hunterdon County and read the Declaration of Independence live. And of course, there were loyalists there who were not too happy at the time, but we'd like to redo all of that and a bunch of other spectacular events. So that's, thank you for bringing that.
You're very welcome.
And we are looking for volunteers.
Right.
We're going to be phoning up a couple of hundred volunteers to put all these things on.
So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor, for inviting us. And we're definitely grabbing one of those 12 spots for the music for our event and that we've got scheduled. So we've already talked about that with the group. Thank you for pointing that out. I also attended a community energy planning group grant meeting on Friday, the 5th. And I need to finish up this grant by the end of June. And I'll be reaching out to each one of the liaisons to coordinate with you. There's a little bit of, from everybody that I need information from. Any staff time that we use goes toward this grant, the money, so we're not spending money on staff time. We have the money to pay for that kind of thing, so I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. And that is it for today. I kind of inherited this grant. This is the one from Jess Hand a couple of years ago. For a community energy plan. You can't get energy initiatives paid for unless you do the plan first, apparently. And this is all new to me. But apparently we have to get the plan approved and then we can get money to actually do things. So I want to get the plan done as quickly as possible so we can file to actually get money for free things like cars for the police and things like that. There's a lot of things that are eligible, but we aren't actually eligible till we do this grant.
All right, Council, sorry.
So this is my first meeting. Nothing yet. I have a planning board meeting tomorrow evening, 7 p.m.
Might be virtual.
My virtual. Tomorrow morning, I will be attending my first Department of Public Works meeting. And then I'm moving in towards my library. There's quite a lot that needs to be done there. So that should happen in the next week where we begin to, how do we want it to look? Where are we now and where we're going in terms of a point or hub for a borough to connect, to learn, hopefully maybe be involved in something with the American Revolution.
There you go.
Actually love it.
Well, it's all MREV all the time. Okay. Thank you. Councilman Levitt.
All right, let's see. First, I got the December 2023 report from Carla today for animal control. 7 calls last month, mostly bite incidents. So as a reminder, please keep your animals under control, I suppose. First HPC meeting is on December 17th. Chairman Giffen reached out to me the other day. I look forward to meeting with him sometime before then, and looking forward to working with all the HPC, of course. And I suppose I'm still a member of the Environmental Commission, but technically not liaison. But we do have our first meeting.
No,
Jerry,
you're not, as of, you can't.
I can't be done.
No, you were an appointed position, so.
I have mine as, is this, can you confirm whether or not I'd be on the Environmental Commission still?
You were appointed to the Environmental Commission in a 3-year term, and once you became an elected official, that appointment's gone. I appointed people in his place because you can't serve 2 branches of government. You can't serve as a volunteer on a
So
board.
is it statutory environmental commission?
Yes,
Under the statute?
yes.
Oh, great.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll find out.
Sorry.
Regardless, didn't really have much to do that, but, well, the first meeting's gonna be on the 15th, and, the Raritan Township Environmental Commission has a food waste composting program that's been set up at Stangl for a while, so if any borough residents want to, bring some extra food waste on a Saturday from 9 to 12 p.m., feel free to do so. That's everything. So,
Thank you.
also, actually, I did have one question. Did we want to talk about the, grant thing, or?
So the grant that I sent you, Chris,
I already responded.
what did you say?
I said that I didn't feel that an amendment was full. Your email indicated that more information before coming.
Oh, yeah, because he never got my text.
Yeah,
I-
But based on what I know and the dollar amount, and I did read the text of the.
Yeah,
ordinance,
$100,000.
I think that you could Trent can just make note of it in his report, and they can proceed
There you
with it's earth mover, or what was the?
No, he
one?
wants to go from a shed to a compost.
Shed to a compost, yeah,
Compost.
$1,500. I would just make a note of it, and then Carl can report in the minutes. I don't think we can go through the process of amending a resolution. And the reason for that is because it was in the whereas. I have no problem.
Got it.
So if Trent just makes that note, go for
I
it.
will, so I can just tell you guys about it right now?
Yes, please.
All right, so we're not doing shed anymore. At the last community garden meeting that I attended back in October, November, they indicated there's not really, after full growing season, didn't really need a shed or there'd be any room for one. But they have 4 giant piles of compostable material. So I reached out to Anjek, who gave us a grant, sent a new budget, new project description. They said that's all fine, and now we're gonna be getting 4 composting units. And the new amount of the budget is about $1,033 or $1,034. Of which I think we already received and deposited $1,000. And then after we complete it, I suppose we'll get a check for like $33 and some change for the remainder of it. That's it.
Anybody have any questions for the councilman about the grant, Jess? Not, Councilman Parker?
Yeah, just a couple of things real quick. So FCP 3 August tomorrow, so we'll be involved in that. I am gonna meet with Jerry Rosella on Wednesday, because I want to figure out what this is all about. Excited to work with them. We did plan Black History Month is, well, actually the event, celebration event is planned. It's gonna be on February 24th. We have a couple of speakers coming, Elaine Buck and Beverly Mills, who wrote a book called If These Stones Could Talk. And it's about the Sauerland Mountains and there was a huge Black community actually in the Sauerland Mountains. We're talking about that and how that started. And in addition to the person who was responsible for the money, raising the money for the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. is also going to be here along with some other people. They're going to be here to talk about that journey of how that actually happened and how they actually got the artifacts from around the country, actually around the world. So they will be involved in that.
Where and what time?
It's going to be in Stengel and it's going to start at 4 o'clock. Yeah. It's gonna be February 24th. Yeah, I'll give you more information about it as we get closer. We're still in the finalization stages, but NAACP is working with this, and we had a conversation with Beverly Lane this morning.
I encourage people to go.
They're
Beverly
amazing.
and Elaine are amazing, and
Amazing.
their whole story, that is currently Mercer County, was Hunterdon County
Yes.
when it all happened.
Yeah.
So it's important history to understand.
It's a great story, and they're
they're
coming
great
out with
speakers.
another book, which they're going to talk about some of that part of the book, when they come as well. They're just two amazing women. So I would encourage that. And then the person that's coming from DC is, she's like amazing. And she started from scratch with nothing, raised the money to get it built, to get the artifacts in there and all 9 yards. I mean, she had a staff, but she did it, and then she was promoted into a bigger thing with Smithsonian, with the Smithsonian Institute. I just also want to talk about a little bit about the newsletter. Unfortunately, the newsletter was done, but it didn't get distributed because that's when I kind of took a dive down a dark hole. So I will still try to get out. Carl, what I may have you do is just post it on the website. I mean, it's kind of late. Yeah, it's kind of late, but it gets, I mean, there's still some valuable articles in there that people will have, and then we'll get the next one. I will do a cadence in terms of putting out a calendar of when the newsletters will come out. And I think that will help. I still need to work on, and I'll probably, maybe you can help me with this, and getting some more business owners to post the newsletter in their individual shops and restaurants in the whole thing. So, you know, when you know better, you do better. Crawl, walk, run. So we crawled, now we can walk. So we'll make it all happen. So hopefully by the next meeting, we will have that published. I'll work with the publishers and I'll work with some other people to see. I do want to try to form a committee for it though, which is really too large for one person to do, to track down articles, to remind, to do this and do that. It's just a lot. So, and as my business starts growing, it just gets to be overwhelming. But I'm still committed to it and it's still going to happen, right? So that's never going to be taken off. And then finally, I'm looking forward to working with DPW, my first meeting tomorrow. It's with DPW, so I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to this year. I just think, you know, one of the things I said before that, you know, council is just bigger than all of us, But what I'm really excited about are the new appointments, and I thank you guys for entrusting me with those. But I just find it exciting because you breathe new air into stuff. And anytime you can just breathe new air, I just get very, very excited. So thank you.
DPW is BYOC, so you're no cost.
You're not providing it?
I can sell.
Adrian's got it, don't worry.
So before I move on to public comments, I would like Corporal McNally, who is our own coordinator, to give an update to the public and the council about, or I did forward all of you various emails from the county and from the but better to hear it from them.
Thanks, Mary. So obviously, as many of you are aware, there's a large storm system that's moving across the country. It will impact our area starting tomorrow. Potential bring strong winds and heavy rains to the area. So we're in the portion of the state that is currently sitting anywhere from, about 2 to 4 inches of rain, which could come over a very short amount of time, which due to the current saturation of the ground, the additional snow melt that will occur because of that rain could become problematic for flash flooding situations in the area. We currently have a flood watch in effect beginning at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and a wind advisory is in effect starting at 5 p.m. What that means for us is, we could see power outages, trees down, and flash flooding conditions within this immediate area. So if you don't need to go out tomorrow, early evening and into the overnight hours, please don't. The heaviest rain periods are currently forecasted at this point. The latest map I'm looking at is 7:30. It's now between 5 p.m. And 2 a.m. So into those overnight hours. So please do your best to stay in if you don't need to be out. Take time in the morning to prepare your homes and tighten up any loose items outside that can cause damage with the winds. The borough itself, we've taken preventative actions here already. Our DPW pre-deployed barricades this morning to our known flooding issues. Our Flemington Police Department water rescue unit was placed in a standby status this morning. They will be in town, 7 of them, 6 officers, as well as our fire marshal who participates in the team. Our Flemington Rescue Squad reports additional water rescue resources and EMS staff in-house starting tomorrow afternoon until midday Wednesday. So we will be prepared because of new standards that came out of Hunterdon County post Hurricane Ida remnants. Our emergency management officials will be joining with Raritan Township to assist in a multi-jurisdictional response because we share services across the 2 municipalities. So to better coordinate mostly our water rescue resources as well as power and water requests and additional DOT requests. We're going to join those resources together to make life easier on us, and multiple requests are going out. The Flemington Emergency Operations Center will be operational at 2 p.m. tomorrow to help assisting our emergency services in town. We will disseminate information directly to Mayor Carroll and Council President Long as the OEM liaison. And if council has any questions or concerns tomorrow, please reach out to one of them and they will get in touch with us. That way we don't have many people asking the same questions at one time. The state will enter a statewide state of emergency declared by Governor Murphy at 5 p.m. tomorrow. The mayor and I will converse later tomorrow afternoon to determine what's the best action for the borough. As many of you know, state of emergency, it opens up our ability to get resources, gain funding outside regular means in the event of an emergency. So that doesn't necessarily mean there's travel restrictions or you have to, stay off the roads, but, we do encourage you to, not travel if you don't need to into the late night. So we will be in touch with everyone that
So
comes.
this starts tomorrow evening or just?
So rain will start to move into the area, forecasted starting as early as 11 a.m., but it will be raining definitely, by 5 p.m. You know,
And the winds, are they sustained winds or?
so, no, the gusts are anywhere from 45 to 55 miles per hour.
They're mostly at the shore, aren't they?
Well, no, the sustained winds are more at the shore,
Okay.
and those are up to 65 miles per hour at the shore. So inland, they're forecasting 45 to 55 miles per hour. Okay, so and that's where the problematic portion comes in, right? We have saturated ground with trees that are impacted by snow and ice already.
Yeah.
So that's.
And then heavy snow, so there's a lot of moisture in the snow already.
Right, so please remember, if, in event of power outages, remember your generator safety. Make sure you're not fueling them while they're on, you're not running them indoors. They're, at least, 10 feet away from your residence, when you're running those, and that you're using, battery powered carbon monoxide.
Thank you very much. All right, we're opening up now to public comment period number 1. Anybody who has any comments, please come to the microphone, state your name and your municipality for the record. Hi, so spell your last name too for Carla. Lee, L-E-E. Yeah, last name? Yes. And your municipality? Hillsborough.
What's your first name?
Jennifer. My name is Jennifer Lee, Hillsborough, New Jersey. Good evening, Mayor Carroll. I'm an ICU nurse at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, where 1,700 nurses were on strike for 135 days to fight for safe staffing. As we return to work, we want to emphasize that our work to improve patient care and workplace safety in New Jersey is not over. I am here today to ask for your support once again in passing a resolution to support state legislation bills A4536 and S304 to get safe staffing ratios established in New Jersey. As the hub of Hunterdon County and home to Hunterdon Medical Center, the residents of Flemington have much to gain through the passage of these bills, which will affect all hospitals in the state. On a borough level, not only do many residents go to HMC for medical care, but many patients get transferred from HMC here in Flemington to facilities such as Robert Wood Johnson in New Brunswick and Morristown Medical Center, if they require higher levels of care. And there are many residents in this town who are also healthcare workers themselves. At some point or another, you or a loved one requires medical treatment in a hospital, and short staffing can lead to medical errors, hospital-acquired infections, pressure injuries, falls, and even death. For every patient above the recommended amount a nurse must take care of, the mortality goes up 7% for all patients in that nurse's assignment, and in the ICU or ER, that number can get as high as 17%. Short staffing is also leading to excessive stress and burnout from the lack of support, and nurses are leaving the bedside in droves. I used to work at Hunterdon Medical Center until 2018. While an important resource to the residents of this county, there are continued staffing issues that affect patient care every day. I reached out to former colleagues who still work there to see what they had to say. One said that in the ER, they have been unable to maintain an appropriate staff to open a new wing, so there are frequently stretchers right in the hallways with patients in them. In the ICU, they are frequently pulled to other floors, leaving them to run short staff. They have eliminated ICU educator support due to budget cuts, and since then introduced multiple devices that staff has received minimal training to run, and not enough trained staff to support each other, leaving them unable to take breaks without compromising patient safety and having only a 1-800 number if they run into issues. Management making decisions to make a traditionally one-to-one level of care patient paired with another patient despite best practice, because they heard it happens in other facilities, so it must be okay. On the ortho floor, someone else routinely had a sub-patient assignment because there was nobody else to come. Hunterdon Medical Center is not immune to the problems that we are fighting against. Hospitals are constantly trying to do more with less, and the only people that benefits are the CEOs at the top. California has passed enforceable nurse-to-patient ratios over 20 years ago, and studies have shown that adverse outcomes, length of stay, and employee turnover were greatly decreased. A4536 and S304 has also existed in New Jersey for 20 years, but has never even been brought to a vote. Hospital systems in the state have been lobbying to keep these bills from ever gaining traction. But the time is now. Enforceable nurse-to-patient ratios is more important than ever to protect our patients, to make sure that the best medical care is available for all New Jersey residents. We have finally been heard for the first time in Trenton last week. And the momentum is there with 18 towns passing resolutions, and that number is rising. We need to continue to show Trenton that we want New Jersey to be the best place to give and receive health care. We were on strike for 135 days for you. Would you want you or your family member or friend to be that nurse's extra patient? Please make a resolution to support A4536 and S304 and save lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just for the record, Hunter Medical Center is not in our town. It's in Raritan Township.
Oh,
So, I don't know if that's significant or not. So Raritan Township probably has by far more staff there than we do. We're a very small little tiny hole in the donut.
I mean, the hospital still serves this.
Of course it does. It's our only hospital in Hunterdon, and ratios of the nursing staff to patients, it's not reported to the Department of Health.
So currently there is no legislation to enforce those ratios.
That wasn't my question. My question was, are those ratios in the hospitals reported to the Department of Health? Do the hospitals have to report their ratios?
No,
They do not.
we do not.
Okay. I also just want to let the council know that our legislators are sponsors of these bills. Senator Zwicker is a prime sponsor on this bill. So part of the resolution is asking that we urge our legislators to be on the bills. And they are already on this. So the council has to make a decision whether they want to pass a resolution along with 18 other 565 municipalities. And that's not my decision. So the council president and I talked before the meeting, and we'll talk later as well.
Okay, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome, and thank you for coming. Appreciate it. And please be
You're welcome.
careful tomorrow.
Yes, same to you. Same to you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Seeing none, we have no minutes to approve yet. So consent agenda, so I'm looking for motion to approve resolutions 224-26 through 224-29 and 224-31, which is added for the Giuliani. I have a motion to approve.
Long move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
Is there anybody who wants anything off the consent agenda as a separate vote?
I need 2024, 26 pulled from the consent agenda, please.
2024, 26. Okay. Anybody else want anything else pulled from the consent? Not, can I have a roll call on 2024, 27, 28, 29, and 31? Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt. Councilman Levitt,
I'm sorry, me? Yes.
Council President Moore,
Yes.
Councilman Parker. Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rosati.
Yes.
Thank you. And resolution 2024-26. Can I have a motion, a separate motion to approve?
Long move.
For a second,
Parker second.
discussion, Councilwoman Engelhardt?
I just have to recuse myself from this because I'm within 200 feet of this property. Well, I always did for planning board, so I felt like I should for them as well.
It's not being
It's a tax abatement, but it's gonna pass, so Councilwoman Engelhardt goes.
I prefer to
That's
abstain.
100% fine. I would check all seven.
roll call, please.
Okay, Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rosati.
Yes.
You know, we have no public hearings, regular agenda, resolution 2024-30. Authorizing the hiring of Fayville Environmental as our lead paint inspector service. Can I have a motion to approve?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to confirm this was the same company from last year, correct?
Yes, and they're working on one.
And resolution is spelled wrong.
On
But
one.
we have a typo, we have
We
a
do.
typo resolution that we found.
We do, I just wanted to
Yes,
get it fixed.
No, yeah.
resolution, yes. Roll call, please.
Sure. Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
Thank you. We have no work session tonight. Public comment session number 2. Anybody from the public? Hands up. All right, payment of bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $4,513,520.51. Then motion, please.
Long move.
Is there a second?
Perkins, second.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Council Vice President Rossetti.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of us have to stay back and talk, but not too long because the Michigan game is on.
Oh, what Michigan? Oh, I forgot.
Yes, Jim Harbaugh.
Say, welcome to Michigan.
Jim Harbaugh was in front of the flag.
That's too much.
Motion to adjourn. Wolverine.
Second, long.
College and Philip.
Aye.
It was good, Alec. It was good to see you back in Thornton.